honestly, this section 2.2 is probably going to be the section you guys are going to struggle on the most. And I don't know why, I find it to be pretty simple, but it's just something that all my students in the past have always struggled on. So we're going to go through it. Hopefully it doesn't go so bad for you guys. Hopefully it goes well. So we have two different types of special right triangles. So I'm first going to talk about this, the isosceles right triangle. It's really also known as the 45, 45, 90. That's the way I refer to it. Notice this one's a 30, 60, 90. Look at the angles, 30, 60, 90. This one's 45, 45, 90. If you look at the angles, 45, 45, and 90. So talking about that, and this is the formula that we use. So it's really not that bad. Let me just draw a triangle real quick, and we'll just kind of rant about this a bit. So if you look at that formula, it's saying if we have this side length is A, let me put the angles first, and this side length is A. So if you know that you have a 45, 45, 90 triangle, then you know that these two sides are the same. So if this measure, for example, is 5, then that means the other side is going to be 5. Why? Because these angles are the same, meaning these sides are going to be the same on that triangle. So it is an isosceles triangle, meaning two sides are the same. So if I were to tell you that this side right here was 11, then what would the other side be? 11. Now there is a way, there's a shortcut to get our hypotenuse, and the hypotenuse is the leg. These are called the legs here. And I should write that up here. Those are the legs. So the hypotenuse is the legs times the square root of 2. Now notice here, when you're going from a shorter side to a longer side, there's going to be kind of a pattern here in this section. When you go from a shorter side to a longer side, you multiply. If you go from a longer side to a shorter side, then you divide. So let me put that. From shorter to longer, multiply. From longer to shorter, divide. So here, if I tell you, once again, if I tell you this side's 11, that means this side's 11. I forgot, I don't know why I erased that formula. Then our hypotenuse is just going to be 11 times, because we're going to a longer side here, 11 times the square root of 2. So with the 45, 45, 90, we're bouncing back and forth between multiplying and dividing by the square root of 2. How would I go backwards? Well, let's just say we had this side, if I told you this side was 10. Then how would I go backwards? Since I'm going from a longer side, because the hypotenuse, to the leg, it's going to a shorter side, so I'm going to divide by the square root of 2. So I'm going to take that and divide by the square root of 2. And then the other leg is also going to be that same value. Now something that's kind of weird here, they don't like to leave the radicals on the bottom. So hopefully you get the idea right now of just dividing, how we went backwards. They don't like to leave the radicals on the bottom. So how do we get rid of the radical on the bottom? So this is called rationalizing the denominator. So we times it by the square root of 2 over the square root of 2. Think about that. The square root of 2 over the square root of 2 is just multiplying this number by 1. It's not changing what this number is. It's just going to change the form of this number. So on the top we'll have 10 square root of 2. And then on the bottom, square root of 2 times square root of 2 is the square root of 4. And the square root of 4 is 2. So you see the whole idea there is we got rid of the radical on the bottom. So this, if you put this in the calculator, 10 square root of 2 divided by 2 is going to be the same thing as 10 divided by the square root of 2. So what you see here, this 10 over the square root of 2 that we have, is the same thing as 10 square root of 2 over 2. Look at that, 7.07, 7.07. They're the exact same thing. We're just changing the form so that we don't have the radical on the bottom. I don't know why that is. It's just kind of more of a standard form. It's the way that you might see it in your multiple choice. That's why I wanted to cover it. Then 10 over 2 becomes 5 square root of 2. So once again, the main idea here is if you're given the hypotenuse, to go backwards, you divide by the square root of 2. So this is really the answer. This is just a different form of the answer. And That's 45, 45, 90. Why don't I just post a different video on 30, 60, 90?